this is Gary. As you can see, probably not easily to see, I am standing underneath my new shelter in my borrowed forest. And I just wanted to walk you around and let you see what I've been able to do. With the first episode, in this series, I had a faceless video where I talked about picking a spot that was under trees and relatively dry. And then I looked for a place where I could, like a center pole of a circus tent, something that I could lean on. Several months ago, maybe even a year ago, I saw a shelter at the beach, which I've always enjoyed building, that had this unique way of linking the strength poles together, which is where most beach shelters fall down, is they get too heavy for themselves. I'm not too worried about this one because all I need for a roof is fir boughs. Oh, by the way, I'll put a link to that other video down below if I remember. But anyway, it's on my channel somewhere. After I got the main stationary poles, including over here, where I'm using a young sapling to spring against like a beam that pushes that then back into these big two fir trees, and provides, it's, as long as I don't put a lot of weight on it, it's not putting too much weight or pressure that way, and it will hold enough vertically for what I'm trying to do. In the meantime, I've looked for ways to stabilize that with cross beams. There's even a little arch right here. If I had sheetrock screws and a screwdriver, but most homeless people are not carrying those around, I'd probably put a couple screws in there for safe measure, or I'd tie a rope around that. And up over here is even a little bit more sketch. It would definitely get at least one screw. And then I would probably tie these together. I would definitely, this is one of my weakest points, but it's not holding all the weight. This is more, anyway, this is not a load bearing. It's just mainly providing an attachment point at each place. What is really my load bearing is this beam that I talked about that goes across here. I would definitely be putting bolts into the tree over here if I were trying to make some sort of safety statement. But what we're looking at and what I'm learning is if I suddenly found myself homeless, it's not something that most people plan on. They may have a few days to plan on it, but like my neighbor, Desiree, she's on the verge of homelessness, and I don't even know if she knows that. Her landlord continues to try to, I almost said impeach, evict her, and she's living a rough life. Let's just put it that way. And if she had to move out, I think she does have some family, but it's rough. And then yesterday I met this young woman who's sleeping under the stage in the park over here, and she's been out for 5 days, domestic violence. She's got a huge giant dog named Guardian, which I wouldn't mess with. But she is not prepared to be outdoors. She's got an electric heater. She can't carry that around forever. It's not going to last forever, running 24/7. So I don't know. We took some food and hot soup to her yesterday. I'm going to take a tarp to her in a little bit because she got rained on all night long. And I've been trying to find some sort of shelter, some sort of place we can put her in. Anyway, back to the original story. let's say I've suddenly found myself homeless. And this stuff doesn't usually happen in the middle of the day on a hot summer day or a nice warm spring day, but often in the worst of situations. So I go to the only place I know that I might be able to be safe at night, and I look for a dry spot, and I erect some sort of shelter. It probably wouldn't be this elaborate for the first night. Um, my first night would probably be up next to something like this, with a few bows down for insulation and a few on top for insulation. But just pray you're not wearing cotton, and pray you don't get wet, because once you get wet, it's really hard to stay warm. And so the key is to build shelter as quickly as possible. So I began working on this, and I probably have about 3 to 4 hours into it already, and I'm exhausted. But I'm kind of a perfectionist because I don't want it to fall in on me, even though it probably wouldn't hurt me. Uh, so here I am. I'm working on this. I'm going to bring my family over today, and we're going to pick up trash here in the park. I got informal permission from the pastor at the Catholic Church that owns this forest. Got to meet him the other day, and a couple of his people that he was with, including a boy Cody, who is working to become an Eagle Scout. And it wouldn't surprise me if this isn't his service project to complete that. There's a man with a dog. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you an overview of how far I've made it, with the cross beams. Started stacking fir boughs. The idea with fir boughs is kind of like cowboy fringe on their leathers. The rain collects on the fringe and then drips off the end and doesn't stay with you. And that's kind of the way fir needles work, and they absorb moisture as they come on down. But the idea is, even though it's a porous thing, if I point them all the right direction, they should drip downward and minimize the amount of water that comes into the shelter itself. As I look at this and I see all the holes, I can see it's going to take a whole lot more fir boughs than I had originally intended. So if I had a hatchet, I could really do this more quickly. Most homeless people do not have hatchets. I do have a knife, and I can break pieces. And within the acre or so here, it's probably okay, and I can probably make do with the way it is. So here comes a guy with a giant dog. So if you never hear from me again, look for a dark-complected man with a giant dog. It's some kind of, it's not a Rottweiler. It's one of those, it's what my friend George had. I can't remember what that is. So, I think I've met him. I don't know. Anyway, we waved. So I'll keep you informed. And I don't know if I have the courage or the will to spend the night in it, let alone a month. And I certainly know my family doesn't want me to do that. So we'll see what happens.